It's a true California. Yes. Show me that then. Show me that then. Why are you behaving this way? Why are you behaving this way around this statement? I don't get it. You can't hate this guy. You're not allowed to hate this guy. This guy's awesome. Why didn't they show any of Jreg's answers? What did he say? So he disagreed on every single one, and they've got no footage they can show of his answers. Okay. Wait, Jreg agreed on this one? Jreg. He dropped the bit. Dude. I stand with the gun. I stand with the gun. He's so cool. It's just it's like a parody. What a totally meaningless point to make. No one disagrees with that. Why would you be asked that question at a political event? All right, so we're going to be watching the Progressive Victory Spotlight video. Do all progressives think the same? Spectrum. So I guess this is meant to be like they're aiming for some kind of, I guess, budget Jubilee, Progressive Victory controlled Jubilee knockoff here. That's the goal, I'm guessing, just from a brief look at it. But, oh, we're going to ask these progressives what they think of different issues and see how they disagree and all this stuff. But it's got, obviously, all of our favorite Progressive Victory characters involved. So we've got Vaush, we've got the Progressive Brat. I have to go over the lore for any of these people. We all know Vaush. Progressive Brat here is sort of like an old DGG lolcow. She was on a panel with a guy called Heem and Destiny, where she was like refusing. I think she was like basically just spurging out and refusing to engage with any of the points. This was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. I can't remember. Maybe even longer ago. Very old debate. But that's basically all anyone knows her for. We've got NominalNaomi, who is obviously known for the Trilk. She feeds her child Trilk, trans breast milk, that is. We've got, I think Alec Gunter's probably around here somewhere. Surely he was at this event. We've got, is that Matt Binder or whatever his name is? Is that who that guy is? I think so. I don't think there's oh, is that Gunter? That's Gunter. Yeah, we've got Gunter here. So loads of characters, guys. Loads of characters. So I'm very interested in this. All right. Let's have a look.
Out of paper straws while Taylor Swift is taking a private jet to get a cheeseburger or something.
Complete unambiguous win to the far right.
Anybody want?
Is this a new video? Yeah, this is just a week old. So it was probably shot. It was. I assume it's shot at the Bowman canvassing event. Is probably when this was filmed. But it was released about a week ago.
Disagree with me? Fight.
Welcome to Progressive Victory's Spectrum, where we'll finally find out, do all progressives think the same? I will be reading a series of controversial statements designed to divide the left and cause it to eat itself. And the
wow, the audio production on this is fucking terrible. That's epic. Okay, great. That's just... I seriously, I hate everything about this gay little pack. Seriously, it's terrible. I try and use piece of their content for React material, and immediately, terrible audio production. Can't hear what they're saying. Oh, man.
Contestants here will move to the left if they agree, and to the right if they disagree.
Who's this freak? This is... Man, what's his fucking name again? Chill Goblin, I want to say. Chill Goblin. He does these terrible video essays. Terrible lefty video essays. He's a new male. Yeah, Chill Goblin. So like this terrible shit, right?
This video is sponsored. Concept of meat. Unironic Scarface posters. Never asking for directions. Quickly rubbing deodorant on your crotch when you woke up too late to shower. Pooling money with your roommates to buy a samurai sword set from a convenience store. Punching a bear in front of a goddamn explosion. Yeah, you could say I know a thing or two about being a man. Another thing I know? Men really hate being trapped in a prison of the mind. Mental prison's not cool. It's a guy thing. But what if I told you that a lot of...
so yeah, this is just that's who this guy is, okay? So horrible new male Bugman, Noah Sampson video essays, okay?
Are we ready to play?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Number one, police are working class.
Police are working. Wait, but that's just obviously true. No, what? How would police not be working class? What? Yeah, what's the alternative? What other class are they? What?
I mean, this is a technicality thing. This is an asterisk thing, right? Obviously, police work for their paychecks, and that is definitionally working class. It's more a matter of, to an extent, I think that what class you're in is kind of defined by your interests. You look the world around, police are almost always on the other side of any working class movement because they have a different set of class interests. They're kind of a subcategory, really. So they work for their paycheck, sure, but historically, you know, they tend to be motivated by a very different set of interests than, you know, the union workers that they're sent to harass. So not always the case, just it's a pattern.
Yeah, I think it's possible to be working.
But wait, but you can say that about literally like so many different like professions. There's always going to be times where they're going to have where one profession, one job description, one job is going to have to take action against people of another job, right? There's always going to be circumstances where that happens. That's like, I mean, that's inherent to even capitalism, right? You're kind of doing that anytime you compete in the market. That doesn't mean anything. He hasn't drawn any real distinction there. Okay.
Class and also to perpetuate these oppressive systems. Like, that's one of the way that the capitalist class keeps itself going is by using, you know, workers to perpetuate their systems of power, their systems of control. And police are like the prime example of that. So yeah, I think you can be both.
So I do agree with some of your sentiments. The reason why I land on disagree is because, for example, I'm from the Bay Area, and the Bay Area cops on overtime make hundreds and thousands of dollars. Like, I'm talking $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 just on working overtime.
Yeah,
and for me,
progressives wear a bra challenge. Crazy.
It's like, yeah, working class does include clocking into your job, doing a trade specialty, but at the same time, if you're getting paid $600,000, $700,000, in my opinion, you still land on a much higher class of income, as opposed to someone who's working in a grocery $700,000, $800,000. So I do agree with some of your sentiments. The reason why I land on disagree is because, for example, I'm from the Bay Area, and the Bay Area cops on overtime make hundreds and thousands of dollars. Like, I'm talking $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 just on working overtime. And
over what time period? One cop is not making $100,000 in overtime pay. Do you mean for the whole area each year? There's like several $100,000 in overtime pay. What one cop is not doing. I'm moving to America. I'm fucking hitting the gym and becoming a cop. You're telling me I can make 500K? You're telling me I can make 500K on overtime as a cop? Fuck streaming. The fuck? No, I don't. Many cops make over 100K. I do not believe there. Show me that. Show me that there are cops making 6 figures plus on overtime. 100K sometimes.
Your sentiments.
So to perpetuate their
on disagree is because, for example, thousands of dollars. Like, I'm talking $600,000, $700,000, $800,000.
Yeah, so this isn't just $100,000 either. This is $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. There's absolutely just no way that you're making over $500,000 in overtime as a cop. No. I don't believe that for a fucking second. Is it true California? Yes. Show me that then. Show me that then. Then source that. Cop. 500K overtime. California. So it says here, San Francisco police. Sheriffs making bank on overtime. Some with take-home pay exceeding 500K. So that, okay, so how many is this? There's been a couple of sheriffs that have made 500K. So this is not just a cop. It's not just you being a cop and making 500K. And that wasn't in overtime either. That was total take home. It says there's one San Francisco police officer who made $356,000 last year in just overtime pay. That's what I'm saying right now, is one who made 356K in overtime. So that's not 600K, 700K, 800K in overtime. That's in a year. That's 1 year. Yeah, one sheriff who made 300K, 400K. A sheriff is different from a cop. That's an elected office. It's not the entirety of California that gets these crazy numbers. I'm actually looking at articles about it right now. What are you talking about? Yeah, exactly. So the starting pay, no, what do you mean it's just Bay Area? You're wrong. You are wrong. Okay, I don't know how else to explain this to you. You're just wrong. Cops and sheriffs, different things. First of all, a sheriff having a pay of 100K, 115K, I believe, is the base rate of the sheriff had. And managing to make 300K, one sheriff, and managing to make 400K in overtime one time. Is not, oh, cops make 600, 700K, 800K in overtime each year. That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. That is in no way the same thing. That is not something that can be generalized or made as a broad statement, even to cops within San Francisco, even to cops within the Bay Area, even to cops within California, wherever you want to limit it to. Even within that, that's not a general thing that you can say that you would say about cops, because one sheriff made 500K. Sorry, 600K total for the year, 400K in overtime. I sent in Discord the salaries. I've been sent the salaries. I'm saying here, police officer in California, average base salary 96,000. So I mean, yeah, I can totally see 100K, 200K. 300K if you're at the top end and doing a lot of overtime. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I could see those numbers for overtime. On the sheriff, for this sheriff. 600K, 700K, 800K. That's insane. Have you considered she might be retarded? I haven't just considered that she might be retarded. I've already decided that she's retarded because I've seen her talk before. But I'm engaged with the point anyway, and we'll go through the information as it comes up, okay?
Just on working overtime. And for me, it's like, yeah, working class does include clocking into your job, doing a trade specialty, but at the same time, if you're getting paid $600,000, $700,000, in my opinion, you still land on a much higher class of income as opposed to someone who's working in a grocery store, for example. So that's why I kind of disagree, because although I do agree to some extent that their jobs are working class.
Okay. This works if you're using the like working class, middle class, upper class paradigm, right? Because that is more about income. But I would have thought they would be working more off of the, like, you know, the Marxist idea of what working class is. I thought that's what they would have been. These people would have been interpreting as. But I guess if they're using it to mean work as in working class, middle class, upper class, and what she's saying here isn't like crazy. Like, yeah, if you make 500K, 600K, 700K, yeah, you're at least middle class. You're at least middle class.
Their income, especially in very metropolitan areas, when you include overtime, is much higher than the average working class person.
Number 2, competition breeds innovation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to start. Like, I think that it's precisely the problem that anti-competition is what breeds a lack of innovation. Like, when we see these monopolies, these oligopolies that completely control markets, there's no desire to innovate. And I mean, we can even think about this question on kind of like the abstract.
Yo, thank you for the membership, Jimsy. Thank you. It's a great time to remind you guys, actually. How many people we've got here right now? 195 people here, but only 20 likes. That's pretty insane, guys. That's pretty insane, guys. I gotta say, that's pretty crazy. Huge discrepancy there. I'm gonna need some people to just like the stream, donate if you can, buy a membership, gift a membership, buy a super chat. Go to discord.gg/Kuihman, twitter.com/Kuihman, reddit.com/r/Kuihman, or you can buy merch on the channel page, okay?
Like, when something gets competitive, like, there's a lot more people that are trying to, like, play around with it, try new things. I mean, you can think about, like, competitive games as an example. Like, people are going to try a lot of new strategies in those. Like, competition itself is not the problem. What's the real problem going on is that there's anti-competition. There's no kind of, like, support mechanisms for people that are living
Thank you for the 5 gifted, Ryle. Thank you, thank you.
under these kind of monopolies and oligopolies.
When you're talking about, like, fiscal competition, just in terms of money, really competition breeds copycats. You see that all the time in all kinds of markets, like the drug
Alec
market.
Gunter, let's go.
You got all these copycat drugs for no reason. You have like 50 different brands of Oreos that all taste exactly the same. And I just think that that's not innovation, that's copycat. And so that's kind of how I view it. Now, if you're talking about competition in terms of who can make the best Oreo, who can make the best game, I guess I can see it that way. But I just think in general, like when we say competition breeds innovation, we're talking more about the financial element of it, at least when we usually talk about it.
I mean, I think there's a reason why antitrust laws are good and monopolies are bad.
Wow, thanks,
it
Alec.
Clearly just helps companies and individuals create things that otherwise might not have been possible.
He's fucking yoked.
Even when the situation is quote unquote copycats, that's how you get like affordable generic drugs though. Companies are able to innovate price-wise by being able to create a drug that had been come up by someone else.
Wait, so who's on
and
who's on what side here? Who thinks competition breeds innovation? Who doesn't? I didn't even fucking catch this.
Monk super chatted $5. The Habibi store must have been out of Red Bull, eh?
No, I've been going through, when I've been streaming, I've been going through 2 Red Bulls the last week. So I was like, I will just buy, because Red Bulls are obviously only like 250 ml. I was like, I'll buy a Monster because those are 500 ml, and maybe it'll at least last me. One of them will last me through the whole stream. But that's not the point. Thank you for the $5. You've just bought my next case of Monster, so thank you. So who was on what side here? I don't really.
Number 2, competition breeds innovation.
I thought most of them just disagreed. Wait, who the f over here? Okay.
Yeah, I'm creating a cheaper product. And I don't know if any of you are pro wrestling fans, but everybody knows the wrestling industry has not been the same since the WWE purchased their competition, WCW and ECW, in the early 2000s. That should tell you all you need to know.
Like, I like competition. I think competition is good. I just don't think that the profit motive is always the best way of working out how that should, you know, how those chips should fall. Sometimes you get a better product that's not as like economically viable. Sometimes you have a product that could be better if it had like peripheral support, you know, like electric vehicle chargers, for example, is something that's incited a lot of hot debate for fans of that sort of thing, where you have like...
Dude, he's like so weird. He's so fucking weird. Just the way he took these fake mannerisms are just so bizarre to me.
Support, you know, like electric vehicle chargers, for example, is something that's incited a lot of hot debate for fans of that sort of.
Like that, like what is going on here? What do you mean? What is this weird for fans of that sort of thing? Like why you're talking about electric chargers? You're not talking about like zoophile porn, like for once. But like, do you know what I mean? Or he's acting like it's a weird thing. For fans of that sort of thing, like there's some weird social taboo about being a fan of electric chargers. Or chargers for electric vehicles. Like, why are you behaving this way? Why are you behaving this way around this statement? I don't get it.
Like peripheral support, you know, like electric vehicle chargers, for example, is something that's incited a lot of hot debate for fans of that sort of thing, where you have like proprietary technology that kind of...
What is that? What was that supposed to signal to me? What is he trying to get across with that? With that little tick?
locks out a portion of the market, and that is competitive in a sense, in that it's good for the finances, but it doesn't allow for like innovation on a technological level. You know, I mean, we owe a lot to, I guess, humans' desire to one-up one another, and I think that desire existed prior to the kind of like formalized market systems that we enjoy today. You know, like the people have always been trying to do that. You know, Grug was carving better rocks long before we had paper currency.
But what does it have to do with Elon though, other than just being like kind of about Tesla? Like, what was the
peripheral support, you know, like electric vehicle chargers, for example, is something that's incited a lot of hot debate for fans of that sort of thing, where you have like proprietary.
How would that be Elon bad? Surely Elon's in favor of there being electric vehicle chargers around the country, and Vaush, assumedly, is also in favor of there being electric vehicle chargers around the country. How would that? That's not an Elon bad moment. That's not what. No, it's not about lithium and cobalt mining. No, it's not. There's nothing about lithium and cobalt mining there. No, there's not.
Technology that kind of locks out a portion of the market, and that is competitive in a sense, in that it's good for the finances, but it doesn't allow for like innovation on a technological level. You know, I mean, we owe a lot to, I guess, humans' desire to one-up one another, and I think that desire existed prior to the kind of like formalized market systems that we enjoy today. You know, like the people have always been trying to do that. You know, Grug was carving better rocks long before we had paper currency.
I think it's because Elon tried to make the chargers Tesla specific, like Apple did. Okay, that would make more sense. That would make more sense.
So it's just the incentive structure underneath it and how we best channel it. I agree we probably don't need like 50 kinds of similar Oreos. Like maybe the effort put into producing those could go towards like building a hospital somewhere. I don't know, somehow reallocating that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, with antitrust laws being like one staple of that, I guess, it's just kind of building a framework where competition can thrive in a way that doesn't waste our time, ideally.
Number 3, I am hopeful for America's future.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for America's future. It's good to be hopeful, right? I also think that Democrats have moved more progressive than they ever have, and I think that Republicans are going to lose for the foreseeable future. And the reason I'm not more over there is because there's a chance I'm wrong.
Yeah, I try to maintain as much hope as possible.
You're hopeful for America's future. Where did they go? We got the Gunt. Oh wait, sorry, white-pilled Gunt. Dude, you can't hate Alec Gunter. I'm sorry. I will not take any more Alec Gunter slander. You can't hate this guy. You're not allowed to hate this guy. This guy's awesome. Where's the L clip? Where's the L clip? He's white-pilled. He's based.
Joe Biden, you have to yield. Oh, before we get started, I got a voice acting role, guys. An unpaid Minecraft voice acting role. Here. I'll show you guys the clips that got me the role. There you are. So the idea is that, like, I was supposed to sound like L from this clip. Oh, wait, I guess I shouldn't show it, huh? Be a bad idea.
Yeah?
But L from, what's it called? Damn, I'm getting a lot of viewers. More than I expected. I'm supposed to sound like L from Death Note. So this is what I sound like. Efficiency above all else. We have a mission to accomplish, and I expect nothing less than perfection from each of you. It's not the role I expected to land, for sure. Sentimentality has no place in our line of work. Emotions only cloud judgment and hinder progress. I've seen too much suffering caused by this war. It ends now, one way or another. I thought it was
such a good voice actor.
But yeah, I'm just gonna be playing some Risky Rain. And oh yeah, I forgot to make a new channel. I gotta make a channel. Here, stream waiting. Voice channel. There's already. Yeah, everyone.
Where is it? Where he argues with his chat?
Could be open, everyone.
Better than Young, yeah.
All right, let me make an announcement. Jeez, these vertical live streams are crazy. I already got 41 viewers. Testing gonna be going, guys. I could be going for like less than an hour. We'll just go until like about... No. It's not supposed to be about Death Note. No, the whole point was I was supposed to sound like the guy. It's not hard to sound insane and raspy nasally. Thanks. You know, I feel like I put a lot of heart into that, but thank you. You know what? Go ahead and shit on my efforts. That's fine. You plebeians. You know nothing of my work.
Okay. All right, we can go back to this now.
Hopeful for America's future. It's good to be hopeful, right? I also think that Democrats have moved more progressive than they ever have, and I think that Republicans are going to lose for the foreseeable future. And the reason I'm not more over there is because there's a chance I'm wrong.
Yeah, I try to maintain as much hope as possible. You know, it can be hard to be hopeful sometimes, and you don't always expect the best outcomes. But
billions must
I think
try.
Just you know, hoping for them and to whatever extent you're religious, I guess, praying for it. You know, it's important, and I think that a lot of the younger generation is growing up to be a lot more progressive, especially with the rise of internet culture. With all of its downfalls, I think that it's really brought people together. And yeah, like I said, I just try to keep my hopes as high as possible.
Yeah, don't want to
go. See, isn't that just amazing? Isn't that just great? He tries to keep his chin up, tries hard every day, you know, positive future, positive outlook, glass half full. Isn't that just awesome?
And yeah, like I said, I just try to keep my hopes as high as possible.
Yeah, don't want to hedge my bets too much because things have gone wrong before, but I think that in like a broad material sense, there are strong undercurrents to the way society is changing that are nearly irreversible and generally positive. Mostly with the young folks and the increasing visibility of the gay, queer people or whatever. It's just hard to hate people when you know them. You know, it's why, for all of its faults, like major American cities are basically global hubs of progressivism. You know, they're incredibly diverse. They have access to a wide range of cultural influences. You get to meet all sorts of people. We're in New York right now. I mean, I grew up in LA. There are some crazy experiences that you can have there that would have been literally impossible anywhere in the world 50, 60 years ago, maybe. And, you know, I think that, like, there are very few political happenstances, even stuff like climate change or like a massive political shift that can undo all the good that adjacency has done. You know, it's not always going to be straight up. I think it's a bumpy road, but, you know, I don't really see how anything could undo that.
Vaush just needs a hat and a gun. He'd look just like the hunter from Jumanji. I was trying to place exactly what I was thinking of when I look at his outfit, and that is, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Progress.
So although I do agree that the sentiment of the people is changing and the younger generation is becoming more and more progressive by the day, I think politically we still have a lot of issues. A lot of our politicians are, quite frankly, bought out. Like, we're literally here because one of our favorite politicians is getting bought out by a lobbying group that has the interest of a blind country. So I think we still have long ways to go to actually enact federal policy that is going to bring about real change. But I do think socially we are moving towards a path of progression. If that makes sense.
Average progressive victory production value.
Okay. I think that socially we're moving towards the right direction.
It is good that America is the lone global superpower right now.
I mean, is that even true? America's the lone global super. Would you not consider China? Is China not a global superpower? I wouldn't say that America is. I disagree with the question. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I guess it's going to depend on your perspective, how you define it. But yeah, premise faulty. I don't know how you would disagree with this, given the other options. What are the other options for superpowers right now? Possible superpowers in the world right now, okay? Russia, China, India. I don't want any of these places being as influential as America. I don't want any of them being as influential as America. Do $4.99. Oh god, Ghana. Trod was watching wasn't he watching the Ghanan military videos? The Ghana tech videos. The mech suits. Oh man.
I'm over here because I remember World War I and World War II, and Europe sucks, and I'm glad that they're not like in charge of the world anymore. So that's good. But you know, I think that the best part of American history was whenever the USSR challenged the US in a lot of different ways. We went to the moon back then, and then the USSR fell apart, and now we don't want to do anything. So I don't think it's great that we're the only thing, but like, you know, it's better back than the World War I days.
I want to bounce off that and just say that I think militarily, multipolarity is actually quite ruinous. I mean, basically every conflict over the past century has derived in some form from like two powers duking it out by proxy. Like, depending on how far back you stretch the definition of the word proxy.
Concovar, that's a terrible comment. What a terrible comment to make.
This is like the Middle East with Iran, right? Vietnam, Korea with us and China and the Soviet Union. Like, constantly, this is how it goes down. I think economically, multipolarity is amazing. Like, the more economic investment you have between two cultures, societies, countries, empires, the less likely they are to invade. The fact that we are so economically intertwined with China, for example, probably the reason why Taiwan has...
That's Jreg. Wait, it's just Jreg going to disagree every time and then standing there looking like a fucking miserable prick. Wait, did they cut out all of his answers? Why didn't they show any of Jreg's answers? What did he say? Dude. So he disagreed on every single one, and they've got no footage they can show of his answers. Okay. Jreg might have won. Jreg won.
hasn't gotten invaded yet, or why we haven't, you know, been more openly aggressive. We're just too interconnected. So more of that, you know, I want every part of the world to have such deep ties to each other that it would be ruinous for them to ever, you know, get in a fight. Right? A lot of what Russia's doing right now is a product of the fact that their economy, right? They're like a natural gas and oil heavy export like economy. It's resistant to that like interdependence. So yeah, I don't know. Trade, get along.
Okay, I think America's fucking the world up royally. I think when we look at, especially historically, like different continents like South America.
Have they tried to use like AI software to filter that or something to get the background noise gone? What's going on here?
The Middle East right now in particular, we are very selfish. We're basically the police. We bully anyone that doesn't listen to us. We sanction them. We kill them. We murder them.
She sounds like a TTS, like for real.
And no, I don't think us being a global superpower is responsible for the greater good of Earth in general. I mean, we're looking at what's happening in Palestine and Gaza right now. Like, what I would never in good faith be able to say that we are a good global superpower or that we are responsible with our power alone, not just domestically, but globally. And domestically, I mean, we are sending billions of dollars to these countries. What are we doing for our own people? Our own veterans are in the street dying. So am I going to sit here and say we're really good at being the global superpower? Absolutely not. No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, Ariana covered it. I mean, you know, the U.S. has, as the superpower, has bullied its way to getting what it wants with practically, you know, any country that has something that it wants. You know, I'm not saying that the U.S. should fall, but it would be better if, like what Vaush said, there were more interconnectivity between all these countries to the point where they all viewed each other as, you know, equal partners in their relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing with what everybody over here is saying. I think that the one thing for me why I'm on kind of like the slight angle is that I think that the whole world situation could be a lot worse if there were...
Did they not? Why are they not like looking at the camera? Like the shooting here, the shooting, the audio, everything is just fucking atrocious. Like I just don't know what the plan was here.
Other countries in power, particularly like, you know, these kind of like war-hungry dictatorships, like, I mean, we've seen what Russia's been doing to Ukraine. It'd be a lot scarier if they had the power to invade a lot of other countries.
Number 5, was BLM successful?
I mean,
okay, I don't know how you would come so far to agree on BLM.
Was Black Lives Matter successful in like everything they set out to do? No, but were they successful in one very important thing, in sort of making normies, like everyday people who may not be in the, you know, the political bubble that we're all in, realize that there is prejudice and things that Black people in this country go through that, they might not be aware of or even.
Yeah, no one realized that before. No one realized that before. Thanks, George Floyd, for teaching us about racism. Thank you, George Floyd.
Even ever go through. I think for sure that's the case, and I think maybe without taking that in mind, it could look like politically Black Lives Matter was, broadly not successful. But I think in terms of changing the ideas of the average American who was open to the idea but never might have considered it, I think absolutely, and I think that's pretty important.
I think a lot of it's a message discipline issue, to be honest. I like slogans. Defund the police, great slogan, punchy. Obviously, Biden.
Now, dude, how have they fucked up the audio so bad? I see what has happened here. How have they fucked it up so bad?
Just snap his fingers and get involved with police overnight. There had to be like a kind of incremental set of goals that can be met. You meet goals, you feel good about your movement. That's a win. The win, you get to communicate with the media. Unfortunately, the BLM movement, as large as it was, there wasn't that like well-structured attitude. There wasn't that clear goal. And I think the clear goal is important, even as like an intermediary period, because it informs people that you're capable of achieving what you want. We kind of didn't get any of the policy goals we wanted, not substantively, and I don't know.
This would make sense. This is a good theory. I like this theory. I think the issue is they're using wireless microphones, but the camera crew are running around for angles, and they're constantly losing connection, which defaults to camera mic. That would make total sense.
I think it disillusioned a lot of people. I think it was just like a 2-year-long bout of adventurism for some progressive people that didn't translate into a long-term set of policy goals.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I do think the when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement of like 2020, I think and maybe I have experience seeing this because I have 2 young kids.
Yeah, when they're dropping a lolly question, if you masturbate to lolicon pornography, you're a pedophile. Agree or disagree? If you masturbate to drawn images of horses having sex with women, you are a zoophile. Agree or disagree? If you post on Reddit and Discord about wishing to have sexual interactions with animals, or potentially even having had sexual interactions with animals, such as releasing geckos onto your cock until you come, you are a zoophile. Agree or disagree? It's child abuse to feed your child trans breast milk. Agree or disagree? These are great questions. They should be thrown out there. These are the ones I want to see.
Kids, they are learning about things with when it comes to Black American history at an age I don't remember learning about in school. And I do think BLM, the movement, really made a lot of people, and maybe this is in liberal areas like New York City mostly, but even there, I don't remember learning about this stuff at the age they are. And I do think the BLM movement spoke to people who were open to it, but weren't actively getting involved or educating or even educated themselves on it. And I do think there was a distinct change post the BLM movement of 2020 when it comes to how normie people in liberal cities, I can only speak from my experience, see the Black American experience. And I think that changes for the good. If we don't see the results right away, I think we will see them down the line 5-10 years from now because of what our kids are learning today.
Number 6, descendants of American slaves deserve reparations.
Wow. Awesome audio. Wait, Jreg agreed on this one? Jreg. He dropped the bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious, like, given the history of slavery and how that continues to impact where people live, the kinds of resources and community opportunities that they have access to, it just seems like an obvious win to invest in those communities, to improve people's lives, and just get this country in a better state, especially as a way of paying back all of the massive damage we did and all of the massive work that these people have done.
I think we should give everybody money, but we give them more money.
Base, this is the one answer they kept in. Here we go. The one Jreg answer. The one they kept in. We should just give everybody more money. Okay, thank you, Jreg.
Work that these people have done.
I think we should give everybody money, but we give them more money. As long as everyone's getting money, I'm happy.
Number 6.
I think we should give everybody money. Give them more money. As long as everybody's getting money, I'm happy. Amazing. Amazing. I stand with Jreg. I stand with Jreg.
7. UBI is a good policy to pursue.
We had that earlier question about whether competition breeds innovation, and I think we were a little bit more divided on that one. Competition.
Wait, which was this one? UBI is a good policy to pursue. Okay. But wait, Jreg just answered, I want to be giving everybody money. And then he goes over to disagree for UBI is a good policy. Oh my god. Dude. So based.
We had that earlier question about whether competition breeds innovation, and I think we were a little bit more divided on that one. But I think we all can strongly, for the most part, believe that having money.
Oh, they spelled pursue wrong. They spelled it with an E instead of a U. That's the second letter. Oh, that's retarded.
Breeds innovation because we have time, we have the resources to be creative and be, put our creativity out there in the world. And I know that when I am stressing about money, I am less creative and less productive. So yeah, give us all money and we will put out good things to the world.
I do agree that we all definitely...
Dude, we got the fucking Cloverfield shaky cam going up to fucking Alec Gunter here. That's crazy.
Out good things to the world.
I do agree that we all definitely need more money and we need a basic. But I think that investing more, the reason I'm somewhat agree is because I think that it's a good policy.
I actually totally glossed over Matt Binder's answer here.
Put our creativity out there in the world. And I know that when I am stressing about money, I am less creative and less productive. So yeah, give us all money and we will put out good things to the world.
I do agree that we all definitely need more money and we need a basic. But I think that
doesn't really address like whether UBI is good policy. I thought the arguments about UBI are a bit more complex than that, no? Because it's about stuff like, you know, because what effect would, because there's a conversation about, you know, what effect on the economy and markets is it going to have if you give everyone a certain amount of money? Like, what if rent prices are just jacked up by that amount of money? You know, like, it can very quickly just be that you've essentially just, the money's essentially meaningless. So, like, just going, oh, well, giving people money is a good thing. Yeah, everyone thinks if you could just give people money and that made their lives better, and you could just give out money to everyone, and that would just make everyone's life better, then we would do that. But that's not quite how it works, because it's a bit more of a complicated system, because you've got, like, you know, financial institutions that set interest rates, and there's a whole web of economic systems that where you have to work within that. It's not just you give out money and then that people's lives get better because they can pay for more things. That's not. It doesn't work like that.
Investing more. The reason I'm somewhat agree is because I think that it's a good policy to pursue, but it has to be in combination with other policies. Otherwise, what you end up getting is, you know, just increased rent prices, increased, you know, grocery prices and all that.
See, look, dude, how can you... Dude, I am so vindicated in all of my defense of Alec Gunter every moment of every day. I am a gunt guard. I am a gunt guard. And I've been a gunt guard since day one. I said it was funny as fuck when he was saying he was going to rape lyrics. I said that was based. And then there was the L clip. And people were still skeptical. And then he comes back the other day. And he's given like totally reasonable takes on his stream. He's being super reasonable. He's like, you know, giving reasonable pushback. He's got issues with Shoe and Head's video. But he's like, you know, he's engaging with it as it comes. And now look here. He's at this event. And he's the most based one there. He's like, yeah, I go through life. And I'm pretty happy and hopeful. I look forward to the next day and think that the world's going to get better over time, and that we should be optimistic. And then he's like got a rational perspective on UBI, dude. I stand with the gun. I stand with the gun. He's so cool.
policy to pursue, but it has to be in combination with other policies. Otherwise, what you end up getting is, just increased rent prices, increased, grocery prices and all that. And I think that if you're focusing heavily, like Andrew Yang did, on strictly a UBI policy, that you might let other things go by the wayside. So while I do agree that it's a good thing to pursue, I think that other things come first.
So
awesome.
So both of my parents have stage 4 cancer, and we had to literally fight in court for my mom to get disability, and I had to financially support my dad for multiple months. And I just feel like if UBI actually existed, a lot of people wouldn't be scared.
Just immediate, just trauma dumping. Woman tried to give a political take without trauma dumping immediately. Challenge.
Thing to pursue. I think that other things come first.
So so both of my parents have stage 4 cancer, and we had to literally fight in court for.
So I got okay. I was gonna okay. Let's.
My mom to get disability, and I had to financially support my dad for multiple months. And I just feel like if UBI actually existed, a lot of people wouldn't be scared. Like, hey, if I get a terminal illness, am I going to die on the street? Because that's very, medical debt is the biggest debt that Americans have in general, and I think UBI could solve a part of that where people would feel more secure. But also, when I started being a content creator, I had no money. If I had money to actually coming in, it would have, like Matt said, it would have helped me innovate a lot easier, and it wouldn't have put.
We need UBI so that I can become a TikToker. Awesome. Thank you, Progressive Brat. I've never been more against UBI. I've never heard a more compelling argument.
Put me in a limbo of okay, am I going to pay my bills or am I going to pursue my dream? So I think UBI in general, and also, like I said, America has so much money to spend, we could spend on our people.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest elements of UBI that we really haven't touched on is the family angle, especially for working class families like my own. If you're struggling to put food on the table, just building up this next generation better, helping out families, giving these families time to actually go out and pursue their dreams and do the kind of things they want to do, in addition to that family time and that working time, that would make a huge difference for so many working class families.
Number 8, it is too late to fix climate change.
I mean, I agree that kind of the outlook looks bleak, but I don't want to engage in this kind of doomerism saying that it's too late, there's nothing we can do.
Wait. Fucking Jreg, man, this guy. Oh my god.
I agree that kind of the outlook looks bleak, but I don't want to engage in this kind of doomerism saying that it's too late, there's nothing we can do, or that we can never get back to a better place. I mean, especially with investments in the long-term green infrastructure, even nuclear infrastructure in the very long term.
We're not getting the old world back, unfortunately. I mean, things always change. That's how things are. I don't think that people in the future are going to be particularly happy about the world that they eventually settle on after things stabilize. And I do think they're going to stabilize. I think that the world at the end of all this is going to be fine. It's going to have issues.
At the end of what? At the end of climate change? Oh, hey, man.
Issues, but it's not going to be the same. And I think that it would probably be good to temper optimism we have about addressing climate change with the understanding that ultimately we are talking about least worst outcomes. We're trying to build out a better version of the worst case scenario, and that's fine.
Why is he's smirking to himself?
That ultimately we are talking about least worst outcomes. We're trying to build out a better version of the worst case scenario, and that's fine. I mean, that's kind of all of life sometimes. I just don't want folks to get really depressive when they learn one day definitively that the world that they grew up in is literally no longer achievable. We have to temper our expectations. Still possible for things to be good.
Number 9, the purpose of protest is to disrupt.
This is the parody of something like this happening. Yeah, the shaky cam. The mic's constantly switching and not be able to hear what anyone's fucking saying. One participant who's just taking the most extreme position every question, sometimes contradictorily. It's just it's like a parody. It's you couldn't write a better parody of what it'd be like if PV did a Jubilee video. Who's this guy in front and why are his arms too short? This is Chill Goblin. I pulled up his video a minute ago. I don't see it now. We looked at a minute ago. You know Jreg's just getting fucking bored now because every single time he's running like way off to the side, he's just like, what else can I do? I'm bored of just running to the edges. Oh, let's go over the edges. Let's take it way past.
Yeah, disrupt's kind of a broad term here. Look, I think that protests should be agreeable. Protests that are attractive in the sense that people want to join them are the ones that usually tend to succeed. You know, you don't want the agency or the government or the organization that you're against to succeed in alienating you against the people you're trying to win over and support. All of that being said, on a fundamental level, especially with the really important stuff, I think it's grown increasingly clear that, like, there are limits to the effectiveness of the civil protest that we sometimes idealize, I guess, in concept, you know? You can get a lot of good work done within that purview, but I think you can, like, pretty clearly look, for example, at the weird disparity between people's support for green energy, the protests against people who are against green energy, and what actually gets done, you know? It's kind of like a fuzzy line.
Wow, sudden revelation on the fact that Just Stop Oil are actually fucking useless. Is Vaush gonna stop defending that shit now? Maybe. I'm pretty sure. Thank you for the $5 Shadow Humor. Sadly, the $5 will not get me to.
Shadow Humor super chatted $5. Stop being British all the time.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like if I reach back into the depths of my fucking mind here, back to some old piece of political content I watched years ago, I could have sworn that Destiny and Vaush once had a debate where Destiny was trying to explain the limited effect of protests to Vaush and how voting is really what changes things and not the protests themselves. And Vaush was disagreeing with that. I could have sworn I remember that from a few years ago.
But we're running up against the limits of what we can change just by I don't know, appealing towards people's better sensibilities. Past a point, like doing a bit of a ruckus is kind of necessary.
Yeah, I think that this might be a bit of a wording thing, but for me, it's like disruption is kind of the mechanism of protest. Meanwhile, the purpose should be something beyond that, trying to influence cultural change, trying to influence policy change. I know when we were talking about some of the failures of the BLM movement, you know, a lot of that was we didn't have that policy change. We didn't have any kind of like active change happening within our political system. And so I think that moving the actual purpose of protest beyond just the mechanism of disruption and making sure that that message of enacting these policies, these are the changes we want, is a pretty important part.
Number 10, privacy is more important than national security when it comes to data collection.
I don't know how you can be an American and disagree with this, to be honest. Like, you don't even have GDPR. You've handed over, like, every piece of data about yourselves to corporations. Like, and now you're going to complain about the government using it? Like, I don't know, man. It's such a virtue signal, I feel like.
Data collection.
All right, so the right to privacy is super important. It is paramount that people retain this important civil right because we've seen how it's been perverted before with those arguments about national security. We've had Muslim people spied on in mosques in the name of national security. We've had civil rights organizations spied on throughout history in the name of national security. And a lot of times, these privacy rights are intruded on for ulterior motives. You know, we've seen the possibilities that happen when, you know, LGBTQ plus people are outed when that is not their choice to be out, and the danger that puts them in. We could see what will happen in the near future if women in states where abortion has been criminalized get outed due to the fact that they are seeking an abortion. You know, people will face consequences if their right to privacy is trampled on. And I think that's incredibly dangerous. And you never need that right to be treaded on in order to be more secure as a country?
I'm pro-treading. I think privacy is kind of like free speech.
It's nothing about this. No, this isn't even anything about a gentle whale piano. Kuihman, people still learning for the first time how many apps they've signed away access to the camera on their phones. Not even about that. You've put your, so many details about yourself into so many websites, so many services that you've signed up for, with absolutely no regard for what the data collection policy is or anything. For the last 20, 30 years, people have been doing that. It's like the amount of data that's like collected in databases about you. Like your entire life is fucking cataloged, basically. Just not in one place. It's just in 1,000 different databases. This isn't even about private. Yeah, I know. I know it's not, Rita. What I'm saying is, though, that if you're an American and you're saying, oh, the government shouldn't be able to collect data because of privacy or whatever, that's retarded and you're virtue signaling. Because you've got no legal protections and you've allowed companies to run rampant and collect insane amounts of data on you. So for the idea that you would suddenly be like, oh, well, the government's using it now. The government's using it. That's a problem now. That's a problem. That's a fucking virtue signal. Because you know that all these corporations already have all this data with like no safeguards on how they use it. Because there's not even, like I say, there's not even GDPR in America. So American users are just completely, like what, they're just bent over.
Each in a way, no one, we're all okay with our own privacy, but we're happy when our political opponents, their privacy is used against them. So I think you just, let's make the field even, and everyone gets oppressed. I watched Minority Report, and I was like, yeah.
That's like saying if you own a phone, you can't criticize capitalism. No, it's not. You could have a consistent position where you're in favor of robust data collection laws, and you're active about that and informed about that. But for you to then just be like, oh, government using data scary when you don't have any position on all the other stuff. Yeah, then you're virtue signaling because you don't even have a first fucking clue. You've handed off all of your stuff already. You literally handed it off to entities that you should trust way less than your government a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think that Jreg, right? Okay, I think that Jreg brought up an interesting point as far as like we're more than happy to exploit it whenever our political opponent's privacy gets.
Wait, was this Jreg did answer this time? Okay.
No one. We're all okay with our own privacy, but we're happy when our political opponents, their privacy is used against them. So I think you just let's make the field even, and everyone gets oppressed. I watched Minority Report, and I was like, yeah.
That sounds good. Awesome.
Jreg, right? Okay, I think that Jreg brought up an interesting point as far as like we're more than happy to exploit it whenever our political opponent's privacy gets exposed. I think that once something is out there in the public, we as progressives can sort of use that responsibly to help better the world, and I think that takes precedent. But I do still think that privacy is important. I wouldn't put privacy on the line for that. I think that once it's out there in the public, it's fair game, but that's kind of my stance on it.
I think we need to sort of understand that like the cases that both of you guys have discussed are like cases of like journalists or whistleblowers in a company or something coming out and unveiling something about a politician or an executive. I think that is fair game. We're specifically talking about the government intruding on its citizens' privacy. And that's, I'm sorry, just period, no, don't care who it is, don't care whether it's someone I absolutely hate politically in terms of their beliefs. No, government should not be... I
assume people should have differences. Paranoia, corporations using info to market better products and profit more versus government having control of your life or ties to law enforcement. No, these are all lefties, though. These are all progressives. There's no way they think corporations are actually more trustworthy. It's a virtue signal because it's like, oh, government using my data. Oh, let's get some privacy. Oh, but they haven't. Fundamentally, that is what a virtue signal is. It's when you, without having any thought out position, make a strong claim of like, oh yeah, that's bad, or we should stand up to this. That's what it is.
Taking away people's right to privacy, period.
And number 11. We should sacrifice our economy to save the planet.
Well, I just don't think we have to. I think it's a false dichotomy. I'm not a degrowther, you know? Well, I just don't.
Dude, Vaush and Jreg on complete opposite ends, but one of them's joking.
I think we have to. I think it's a false dichotomy. I'm not a degrowther, you know? I think fundamentally, most of our economy is pretty salvageable. You know, there are changes that can be made that preserve the fundamental, like, necessities of output. I don't like framing it as a we need to make sacrifices to prevent climate change kind of deal, because I don't really think we do. It gets framed so often as a matter of like recycling and personal water use and so on. And I'm not saying those things aren't good. I'm only saying that, you know, there are some top level policy changes, like the way we use our land, the amount of meat that we consume, like, or the subsidies that we offer to meat or corn farmers, you know, transportation, the chemicals that we use for our fuel. There are things that we could do to address these that would be expensive in investment for the top level, right? But for us individually, you know, I think we could, maybe a hamburger gets a little more expensive. I don't know. Getting rid of leaded gasoline probably cost a few bucks too. I just think we can preserve the good parts. We don't have to suffer.
All right, the funny thing is I'm on the opposite side here as Vaush, but I agree with what he's saying. But the reason I'm here is because I don't view climate change as saving the planet. The planet's going to be fine. Climate change is an issue for people living on the planet. So I think in terms of like people, we'll be just fine, and we'll
what a
deal with it, just like
fucking meaningless point to make. What a totally meaningless point to make. Why even say that? What's even the... Please, there's got to be some follow-up here that makes that retarded, pretentious comment worth it.
All right, the funny thing is I'm on the opposite side here as Vaush, but I agree with what he's saying. But the reason I'm here is because I don't view climate change as saving the planet. The planet's going to be fine. Climate change is an issue for people living on the planet. So I think in terms of like people, we'll be just fine, and we'll deal with it, just like Vaush said. I view this question as literally saving the planet. Like, the economy needs to go, otherwise the Earth...
What? So you mean you are a complete retard who hasn't engaged in politics at all, and you've never heard the phrasing save the planet, so you've taken it entirely literally and seen it as a hypothetical that's been posed to you, where some like alien in control of like a Death Star or something is saying to you, oh, you've got to make the choice right now. Either you let the economy collapse, or I press this button and blow up Earth. Like that. Are you some kind of fucking retard? Are you some kind of fucking moron? It's obvious that you're at a progressive victory event. It's obvious what they're asking. It's obvious what question they want you to engage with here.
Explodes and everything's gone. In that case, I think we should probably...
Like, he literally is engaging with it like that. I can't, man.
We'll be just fine, and we'll deal with it, just like Vaush said. I view this question as literally saving the planet. Like, the economy needs to go, otherwise the Earth explodes and everything's gone. In that case, I think we should probably do whatever it takes to save the planet.
Yeah. No shit, retard. No shit, retard. No one disagrees with that. Why would you be asked that question at a political event?
I do agree with Vaush's sentiments, but I also, like, it begs the question of, like, okay, a lot of the changes that we have to make have to do with the multi-billionaires as well that fly around with their private jets, like, unopposed. And, like, we're forced to drink out of, you know, paper straws while Taylor Swift is taking a private jet to get a cheeseburger or something. You know, I feel like when we're talking about sacrificing the economy, from my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, we have to sacrifice the lifestyle of a lot of these billionaires in order to achieve a climate change that is fair for all people, regardless of your tax bracket.
So I think where Vaush was...
Does she really think like billionaires live significantly different lifestyles to like millionaires? Because I just don't see that to be true. I feel like billionaires, like, yeah, you can afford like some super extravagant things that millionaires can't afford. But I don't see that like their day-to-day experience would be much different. I feel like once you're past sort of like the ever worrying about money stage, ultimately you're gonna get to like you're gonna have basically the same options available to you. It's just the difference between being able to have like a yacht or a super yacht. It's like that, right? So there isn't really a significant lifestyle difference in the same way that there is between like working class and middle class, upper class, and maybe even upper class, and then up to millionaires. I don't see that you would be doing making much of a difference by having like lifestyle reductions for billionaires. I don't see that changes much.
Coming from is a rejection of the question, kind of like the Giga Chad clip of that one guy who was approached on the street by that street interviewer. Just rejects the question because.
Well, yeah, but power, sure. If you want to talk about power, that's a different thing. But that's about like the allocation of assets and like financial power, right? That's ultimately, that's why they have so much money, is because, the markets have essentially decided that they've made good decisions with money and will continue to make good decisions with money. But what she specifically said was about lifestyle. She said lifestyle. She said we've got to tone down the lifestyle of billionaires. I don't see that the lifestyle of billionaires is really going to be a significant impact on climate change, or even particularly different to like the lifestyle of millionaires, really.
Ultimately, we don't have to pick between. I agree completely that we don't have to pick between the economy and the environment. They're both salvageable.
Yeah. I suppose this is true as well, Deep. Depends what kind of millionaire as well, like successful small business owner versus inherited property. Sure. Yeah, true. I mean, I'm talking like, when I say millionaire, I'm not talking about like 1 million. I'm talking like, maybe 10 million plus sort of.
Yeah, I just want to say, to take a concrete stance, I'm with the conservatives on the paper straw thing, Like policy, we solve 1 bajillionth of a % of climate change. Meanwhile, we burn the Amazon down for AI-generated foot pics or whatever. I don't know. I feel like that was like an insultingly low blow, I feel. The straw thing in particular. Yeah, so on that respect, complete unambiguous win to the far right. For everything else, they need to shape up. And also, we should pollute a little less, I think.
I don't think we're gonna...
What's with this gay pose he's doing? What is with this gay little pose that he's doing? I hate this. I hate the stance. I hate the arm on the hip thing.
They need to shape up. And also, we should pollute a little less, I think.
I don't think we're gonna sacrifice the entire economy, is what but it is gonna make us a little uncomfortable. It's gonna cause inflation, and see how people deal with that. But it's worth it. It's gonna be more expensive to not fix it. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Is there anybody want to?
That stance is legit. It's a legit zesty man pose. See a dude at work do it hundreds of times a day.
Disagree with me? Fight.
Wow. We made it, guys. We got through the whole fucking video. Look at that. I hope they make more of these. They're fucking terrible.